Hello YouTube, Joel from Jonesy's and Adventure Vehicles Northwest, and today we are going to put the finishing touches on our Land Rover Defender 90 LS swap. Stick around for all of those details next. Let's go and give you guys a walk around and go over some of the exterior details of the Rover. So as you can see, this rig was painted in the original color. The blue just looks really, really good. I love this color. This is a 1990 Land Rover Defender 90, and it is actually a left-hand drive, which is pretty cool. Anyway, let's get back to it. So let's start with kind of some of the awesome upgrades that we did. We converted everything over to LEDs. Special shout out to Rover's North. They supplied us with pretty much all the restoration stuff that we needed for this build. They're super easy to work with. So if you need Land Rover parts, go to Rover's North. I give them the big thumbs up. So anyway, back to it. We converted everything over to LEDs. So all the turn and marker stuff, and some of this stuff actually is a little wonky because like you've got amber and then you have clear on the front. We wired it the best that we could to allow for the appropriate United States safety, but that's just how it is. These headlights, I struggled to find a 7-inch good looking LED light that didn't look like a spaceship. These are actually made by Philips, and I think they with that black center bar right there actually just kind of fit the theme really, really well. Stock wheels, slightly oversized tires. Tried to keep everything looking as retro and as kind of period correct as we could. So this, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but we added a jumper cable connect, battery connect to the front because the battery is under the driver's seat, and with the seats that we have, it's not accessible. So we have added the power tap right there under the front bumper. So let's kind of go around. Exterior roll cage on the front. I have to admit, a lot of the aftermarket and a lot of these upgrade parts for these Land Rovers fit and function really, really well. I hate to say it, but better than the Jeep stuff, to be honest with you. This soft top fits really good. It's all made specifically with this exterior roll cage attachment, and all of that went together really, really well. So the quality on some of the restoration stuff is really good on these Rovers. So going to the back, again, we tried to keep this thing looking as retro as we could. Went with, again, the full LEDs. And then we fabricated a custom swing out with the regular hitch. Now these things had a pintle hitch on them. Pintle hitches are not really used that much, especially on here in the States. So we swapped over to a regular 2-inch receiver tube. But if you guys paid attention to my last come and swap, you'll see this same mechanism. So we fabricated the zero clearance swing out latch. So the latch itself is encased in a polyurethane. So you can see it's a zero clearance fit, and so there's absolutely no rattle whatsoever. And then the latch mechanism, we changed up the striker so that it has a safety pin here. Sorry, it's hard to do this with the camera, but anyway, got a safety pin so that there is, even if this comes uncammed, there is no way that the tire swing out is gonna come apart and swing open. So over here on the hinge, we went to 4x4 Innovations for the actual hinge, and it locks it open in actually 2 positions. You can see the other pin right there. And so it locks the swing out open so that it's not gonna swing around and close on you or overswing or anything like that. So pretty straightforward, simple construction. You know, we just use rectangular tubing for the main bumper frame, and then used square tube for the actual tire swing out section. So coming around, let's go inside and we'll show you how we outfitted the interior and the gauges. So for the gauges, the factory Rover instrument cluster is absolutely terrible in my opinion. We took an OEM aftermarket Rover bezel, this piece right here, and then I CNC plasma out a piece of steel that has all of the cutouts for all the gauges, as well as all of your indicator lights, high beam, low beam, right turn, check engine, things like that. And so then that means that you get full instrumentation. Now, because there's only 4 gauges, I'm not a huge fan of the quad gauges. These are obviously Autometer. They make a quad gauge that I could have put a big quad gauge in there and it would have had all of the functions, but then you don't have a nice big tack. And with this LS, it's actually kind of nice to have the tack. So I put all of the like important stuff in this. So we got water temp, oil pressure, obviously speed, and then RPM. And then over here, there's this little wonky spot. And so I added 2 more gauges over here on the center for the fuel and the volts, as well as a little power tap so that you can charge your device. So this dash pad, you can see we opted to remove all of the padding and just went with a textured finish. And then all the rest of this is all just kind of factory OEM stuff. In one of my previous videos, you saw how we were struggling with getting all of the shift linkage for the transfer case. Well, we sorted all that out, and now you've got the center diff lock as well as the high and low range. One of the other struggles that we ran into is with the NV4500. I originally had a short throw shifter on here because I was concerned about actual like travel and throw on the shifter, but it for some reason it was really having a hard time shifting into 3rd gear, and I don't know what was specific about 3rd gear, so I swapped it back to a standard throw shifter, and that seemed to resolve the issue. So for the interior wise, you can see we just went back with the color matched texture throughout, and installed some really nice aftermarket seats. Currently we just have them hooked up to the regular shoulder belts, but it's cool because now there's quite a bit of room here where you can put a center console. So that kind of sums up that. Now, like I said, over here, this seat, it's bolted down, it's not removable, and the battery is normally accessed underneath this access panel. Oh, so some of the details down here, we opted to get a master battery disconnect. So that's a master battery disconnect, and for some added security, we made it keyed so that you could take the key out, you could turn the battery off, take the key out, and then have a little bit of extra security. And then we also installed right here just a regular rocker switch. This is the hazard light switch, but this is the rocker light switch for the interior lights. So we installed quite a few of the LED interior lights. You can see we mounted some in the back for the cargo area, as well as the front footwells. We also added kind of an option for a overhead LED that is on its own little switch if you need it. So these doors, there's no way to actually put any of that stuff on a door jamb switch. So we gave a labeled rocker. Okay, now one of the things there, you can see the custom drive-by-wire accelerator pedal as well as the horn relay. And one of the requests that we had from my customer was that we build some fuse block covers. So I kind of went around and around as to how I was going to build those fuse block covers. And what I ended up doing is I ended up buying a 3D printer, and I 3D printed some fuse box covers. So let's go ahead and get those installed. Okay, let's now let's take a tour under the hood. Okay, here we are under the hood, and the engine, if you missed it from any of the other videos, is a 6.2 liter all aluminum V8 out of a 2012 Cadillac Escalade, approximately 430 horsepower or thereabouts. And so some of the install details on this, we went with an LS conversion radiator, and then added in the factory style mounts for the Rover. So this is the actual Land Rover radiator bracket, and then built a custom fan shroud because we're running a mechanical fan. So special thanks also to RW Engineering. They supplied us with the alternator and power steering relocation, as well as the engine mounts for this swap. So if you need to do a swap in a Land Rover, call RW Engineering. They did a great job for us. So anyway, back to the engine. Engine 6.2 liter. And you'll notice that most LSs, if you know anything about LSs, have the air intake on the front. Well, we flipped the intake manifold backwards so that the air intake comes in the rear, just because firewall clearance and things like that. And then also we had to swap over to a car intake manifold because hood clearance was a problem. And so because of that, I fabricated up this custom 4-inch air intake tube, and then tried to keep the air cleaner away from as much hot air as possible. So a couple of requests that I got from my customer again is definitely wanted another fuse block cover for the engine ECM fuses. So we again went back to the 3D printer, and then the other thing that was kind of a pet peeve of mine was, like, these LS engines, they have all of these coil packs and they have all of this wiring, and we have a tach adapter right there for the tachometer, and then all of this spaghetti of wires, and everything on this engine compartment started to look so good and things were color matched so well that I decided that we needed to spend the time and really dress this up and build a custom engine cover. So there you have it. We fabricated this custom engine cover to kind of make sure everything, all that spaghetti of wires kind of got hidden a little bit. So this engine cover started life as a stock engine cover for a Camaro. That's what this center section came out of. And then we fabricated a sheet metal surround for it. And then obviously added in the Land Rover logos on the side. So I think that just kind of finished it off. It's easily removable. It's only 3 nuts to take it off, and then obviously the dipstick and the oil cap, and it comes right off. So serviceability should be pretty straightforward. So the last thing that we're going to go over is I'm going to start it up. You guys can hear the engine run. I was on the struggle bus bad with some of the tuning here. Without going into all the details, I may actually go do another video about specifically HP tuners and what it's really like to tune with this stuff. But anyway, long story short, the Cadillac Escalade engine ECM failed and was causing all kinds of issues. It was having some internal processor problems, so we bought another ECM. Without any more jabbering, let's again, from my previous videos, you guys, if you've watched them, this is a single 2.5-inch exhaust with a Dynamax Super Turbo. So engine idles approximately 650, thereabouts. And I have put, since the calibration, I have put 258 miles on this, working through troubleshooting and tuning and things like that. So I think that's gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe, post your comments, and thanks for watching.